Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a life where money flows to you with ease. Not through struggle, not through fear, but through alignment, awareness, and intention. Many people chase wealth outside, but the truth is, abundance begins within. Today I will share a simple yet powerful practice. 3 numbers. To 3. Write them with intention, hold them with belief, and watch how your relationship with wealth begins to shift. The first number is 8. This number carries the energy of infinite flow. Look at its shape, it has no beginning and no end. It represents continuous movement, the cycle of giving and receiving. When you write this number, do not just see it as a symbol. Feel it. Feel money circulating in your life, not stuck, not blocked, flowing freely. The more you resist money, the more it resists you. But when you allow it to flow through gratitude, generosity, and trust, you step into its rhythm. Write this number slowly, with awareness, as if you are opening a gate that was always meant to be open. The second number is 3. This is the number of creation. Everything in this world begins with a thought, grows with belief, and manifests through action. 3 steps, always. When you write this number, remind yourself your mind is the source of your financial reality. If your thoughts are filled with lack, fear, and doubt, your world will reflect it. But if your thoughts are rich with possibility, clarity, and confidence, abundance has no choice but to appear. As you write the number 3, say quietly within yourself, I create my wealth, I am not separate from it. The third number is 1. This number is power. It is the reminder that everything begins with you. Not luck, not others, not chance. When you feel powerless, money slips away. But when you stand firm in your worth, your decisions change, your actions change, and your results change. Write this number boldly, with certainty. Feel your strength as the starting point of all prosperity. Now, bring these numbers together, 8 minus 3 minus 1. Do not rush. Write them on a piece of paper. Keep it where you can see it daily. But remember, these numbers are not magic by themselves. The power lies in your awareness while writing them, in your belief while seeing them, in your actions after embracing them. Each time you look at these numbers, pause for a moment. Breathe. Feel abundance already present in your life. Not something far away, but something already growing within you. Because wealth is not only what you hold in your hands, it is what you allow in your mind. When your mind becomes abundant, your world follows. And one day you will look back and realize it was never about the numbers. It was about the shift within you. Abundance begins within. True financial wealth is not created by chasing money externally, but by shifting your inner mindset, beliefs, and awareness toward abundance. Abundance is often misunderstood as something that exists outside of us, hidden in opportunities, locked inside careers, or waiting in some distant future moment when everything finally aligns. People spend years chasing money, believing that once they have more, they will finally feel secure, fulfilled, and at peace. But this way of thinking quietly creates a gap between where you are and where you believe abundance exists. And that gap becomes a source of constant struggle. In reality, financial abundance does not begin in your bank account. It begins in your mind. The way you think about money, the emotions you attach to it, and the beliefs you hold deep within shape your entire financial experience. If you constantly feel that money is scarce, difficult to earn, or reserved for others, then even when opportunities come your way, you may not recognize them, or you may push them away without realizing it. On the other hand, when your inner world is rooted in trust, possibility, and openness, you begin to notice opportunities that were always present but previously invisible to you. This inner shift is subtle but powerful. It is not about pretending to be wealthy or ignoring your current reality. It is about changing your relationship with what you already have. When you begin to appreciate even the smallest financial blessings, a meal, a bill paid, a small earning, you send a quiet signal to your mind that there is already enough. That sense of enough softens fear and reduces the pressure that often blocks clear thinking and wise decision-making. Fear is one of the biggest barriers to abundance. When your actions are driven by fear of losing money, fear of not having enough, fear of failure, you tend to make decisions that keep you stuck. You may avoid risks that could help you grow, or you may hold on too tightly to what you have, preventing any flow or expansion. But when you begin to operate from a place of inner stability, your choices become calmer, clearer, and more intentional. Abundance within also means trusting your ability to create and adapt. Life is always changing and financial situations rise and fall. But when you believe in your capacity to respond, learn, and grow, you stop seeing challenges as permanent obstacles. Instead, they become temporary phases that you can move through with awareness and resilience. As your inner world transforms, your outer actions naturally begin to shift. You become more mindful with spending, more confident in earning, and more open to new possibilities. You start making decisions that align with growth rather than fear. Over time, these small changes compound, and what once felt out of reach begins to feel attainable. In the end, abundance is not something you chase, it is something you allow. And the moment you begin to cultivate it within, you quietly step into a reality where wealth is no longer distant but steadily unfolding in your life. The power of number 8, flow of money. The number 8 symbolizes infinite flow. It reminds you to allow money to circulate freely in your life through trust, gratitude, and openness. The number 8 carries a quiet but powerful message about the nature of wealth, one that many people overlook. Its shape, flowing endlessly without a clear beginning or end, reflects the true essence of financial energy. Money is not meant to be held tightly or feared, it is meant to move. Just like water, when it flows freely, it remains fresh and life-giving. But when it is blocked or controlled too rigidly, it becomes stagnant, creating tension and imbalance. Many people unknowingly disrupt this flow. They either cling to money with fear, afraid to spend or invest, or they push it away with negative beliefs, thinking it is difficult to earn or maintain. Both extremes create resistance. And where there is resistance, there is blockage. The energy of the number 8 invites you to release this tension and step into a rhythm of balance where giving and receiving exist in harmony. When you begin to understand this, your relationship with money starts to change. Instead of seeing spending as loss, you begin to see it as circulation. Every time you spend wisely, you are participating in a larger cycle that eventually returns value in different forms. This does not mean careless spending, but rather conscious movement, trusting that money used with intention does not disappear, but transforms and often comes back in unexpected ways. Gratitude plays a central role in maintaining this flow. When you appreciate what you already have, you create a sense of completeness in the present moment. This feeling of enough reduces the fear that often leads to scarcity thinking. And when your mind is no longer dominated by fear, you naturally make better financial decisions. You become more aware, more thoughtful, and more aligned with opportunities that support growth. Another important aspect of the number 8 is generosity. Giving, when done from a place of sincerity rather than obligation, reinforces the idea that you have enough to share. This simple act shifts your mindset from lack to abundance. It signals to your inner world that you are not in survival mode, but in a state of trust. And this trust is powerful. It opens doors, strengthens relationships, and often brings unexpected returns. However, true flow also requires responsibility. Allowing money to move does not mean ignoring discipline. It means creating a balance between saving, spending, and investing. When these elements are in harmony, money begins to feel less like a source of stress and more like a supportive tool in your life. As you connect with the energy of the number 8, you begin to notice a shift. You no longer feel the need to control every outcome. Instead, you develop a quiet confidence in the natural movement of things. You trust that as long as you remain aware, grateful, and intentional, the flow will continue. Over time, this mindset transforms your reality. Opportunities appear more frequently, decisions become clearer, and money starts to feel less like a burden and more like a partner in your journey. And in that state of flow, abundance is no longer something you chase, it becomes something that moves with you, effortlessly and continuously. The power of number 3, creation of reality. The number 3 represents creation. Your thoughts, beliefs, and actions shape your financial reality. What you think consistently becomes your experience. The number 3 holds a deep connection to the process of creation, a process that is constantly unfolding whether you are aware of it or not. Every financial situation you experience today has, in some way, been shaped by patterns of thought, belief, and action that developed over time. This is not about blame, it is about awareness. When you begin to understand that your inner world is always influencing your outer reality, you step into a position of quiet control. Creation does not happen in a single moment. It moves in a sequence. First comes a thought, then a belief forms around that thought, and finally action brings it into the physical world. These 3 stages are always working together. If your thoughts are filled with doubt or limitation, those thoughts slowly turn into beliefs and your actions begin to reflect hesitation or fear. Over time, this pattern shapes your financial reality in ways that may feel difficult to escape. But the same process can work in your favor when you become intentional. When you start choosing your thoughts more carefully, you interrupt old patterns. A simple shift from "I can't afford this" to "how can I create the ability to afford this" opens a completely different path in your mind. It moves you from a state of limitation into a state of possibility. And possibility is where creation begins. Belief is the bridge between thought and action. If a thought is repeated often enough, it becomes something you accept as true. Many people carry hidden beliefs about money, often formed in childhood or shaped by past experiences. These beliefs might sound like "money is hard to earn" or "wealth is not for people like me." Even if you are not consciously thinking these thoughts every day, they quietly influence your decisions. They shape how you respond to opportunities, how much risk you are willing to take, and even how you value your own efforts. When you begin to challenge and reshape these beliefs, something shifts. You start to act differently, not because you are forcing yourself, but because your internal foundation has changed. Confidence grows naturally when your beliefs support your goals. You begin to take steps that once felt uncomfortable, and those steps lead to new results. Action is the final stage, and it is where creation becomes visible. Without action, even the most powerful thoughts and beliefs remain unrealized. But action does not have to be overwhelming. Small, consistent steps are often more powerful than large, uncertain leaps. Each action you take sends feedback to your mind, reinforcing your belief that progress is possible. The beauty of this process is that it is always available to you. At any moment, you can choose a new thought, nurture a new belief, and take a new action. Over time, these choices reshape your financial path in ways that feel natural rather than forced. As you align your thoughts, beliefs, and actions, you begin to notice a quiet transformation. What once felt out of reach starts to come closer. Opportunities appear more clearly, and your response to them becomes stronger. In this alignment, creation is no longer accidental, it becomes intentional, steady, and deeply empowering. The power of number one, personal authority. The number one signifies self-power. Financial change begins when you take responsibility and recognize yourself as the source of your success. The number one carries a simple yet profound message: everything begins with you. In the search for financial growth, it is easy to look outward toward circumstances, other people, or luck as the deciding factors. But this way of thinking quietly takes power away from you. It creates the belief that your situation is controlled by forces you cannot influence. The energy of the number one gently challenges this idea and brings your attention back to where true change begins, within your own sense of self. At its core, this number represents individuality, leadership, and personal authority. It is the reminder that you are not just a participant in your life, but the starting point of every decision, every action, and every result you experience. When you fully accept this, something shifts internally. You stop waiting for the perfect moment or the right opportunity, and you begin to create momentum through your own choices. Many people struggle financially not because they lack ability, but because they doubt their own worth or capability. This doubt often shows up in subtle ways: hesitating to take initiative, undervaluing your work, or avoiding opportunities that require confidence. Over time, these small patterns reinforce a sense of limitation. The number one invites you to break this cycle by reconnecting with your inner strength. Self-worth plays a crucial role in this process. The way you see yourself directly influences how others perceive and respond to you. If you believe your efforts have value, you naturally present yourself with more clarity and confidence. This affects everything from how you negotiate to how you communicate to the kind of opportunities you attract. When your sense of worth increases, your financial reality often follows. Taking responsibility is another important aspect of this energy. Responsibility does not mean blaming yourself for every difficulty, but rather recognizing that you have the ability to respond and adapt. When you adopt this mindset, challenges begin to feel less overwhelming. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What can I do next?" This simple shift turns obstacles into opportunities for growth. Courage is also part of this journey. Stepping into your own power often requires you to move beyond familiar patterns. It may mean making decisions that feel uncomfortable at first, trying something new, taking a calculated risk, or standing firm in your choices. These moments are where transformation begins. Each time you act despite uncertainty, you strengthen your confidence and expand your sense of what is possible. As you continue to embrace this mindset, you become less dependent on external validation. You no longer need constant reassurance to move forward. Instead, you develop a quiet inner certainty that guides your actions. This independence creates stability, even in uncertain situations. Over time, the influence of this shift becomes visible in your financial life. Your decisions become more intentional, your actions more consistent, and your direction more focused. You begin to lead your life rather than react to it. In this state, the journey toward abundance no longer feels like a struggle. It becomes a path shaped by your own awareness, your own choices, and your willingness to step fully into the power that has always been yours. Awareness plus action equals real transformation. Writing the numbers is not enough. The real shift happens through belief, mindfulness, and aligned action in daily life. Real transformation in life does not come from sudden changes, but from consistent awareness and small shifts in understanding. When it comes to financial growth, many people search for shortcuts, external signs, or quick solutions. But true abundance is not built on shortcuts. It is built on alignment between your mind, your actions, and your inner state of being. The message behind this final number is not about something outside of you, but about how everything you experience is shaped by how you choose to live each day. One of the most important realizations on this journey is that abundance is not a destination. It is a state of awareness. When your mind is calm, focused, and open, you begin to see opportunities that were always present but previously unnoticed. Life does not suddenly change overnight, rather your perception of life changes, and that shift creates new outcomes. What once looked impossible begins to feel achievable simply because your inner lens has changed. This understanding brings a sense of responsibility but also freedom. Responsibility because you realize your thoughts, habits, and decisions matter more than you may have believed before. Freedom because you are no longer dependent on external conditions to define your future. Even in difficult circumstances, you retain the ability to choose your response. And in that choice lies your power to grow. Financial abundance also requires patience. Growth is not always visible immediately. Just like a seed planted in the ground, much of the important work happens beneath the surface. You may not see results instantly, but internal changes are taking place, you're shifting, your habits are evolving, and your awareness is expanding. If you continue to nurture this process, the external results eventually follow. Another key aspect is consistency. Many people begin with strong motivation but lose direction when results do not appear quickly. However, true success is built through steady action repeated over time. Even small efforts, when done consistently, accumulate into significant outcomes. Whether it is improving your skills, managing your money wisely, or developing better habits, repetition builds mastery. Equally important is inner stability. External circumstances will always fluctuate, but if your mind remains grounded, you are less likely to be shaken by temporary setbacks. Stability allows you to think clearly during challenges instead of reacting emotionally. This clarity helps you make better decisions, which gradually improves your financial path. As you move forward with this awareness, you begin to notice a quiet confidence developing within you. You no longer feel rushed or desperate. Instead, there is a sense of trust in your process. You understand that every step you take is shaping your future, even if you cannot see the full picture yet. Over time, this mindset transforms how you relate to money, success, and life itself. You stop chasing and start aligning. You stop forcing and start flowing. And in that shift, abundance becomes not something you are trying to reach, but something you are naturally growing into.